If you do not have R&I, you will not be successful in real estate. You probably won't be successful in sales in general. But don't worry if you don't know what R&I is. In this video, I'm going to show you what R&I is. I'll give you examples of what R&I is, and I'm going to show you ways that you can fix your R&I, improve your R&I so you can do better. I'm Tahoe Tony. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe below. Click on the notifications button and you'll be the first to know when I put out more videos that are going to help you generate more sales, generate more commissions, so you can bring home more money to your loved ones, so you can spend more time doing the things you want to do and not the things you have to do. So you're probably thinking, what the heck is R&I, right? You're probably familiar with ROI. So if you start a marketing campaign or something, you put some money in it, you want to make sure you're getting good ROI, which stands for return on investment. But R&I stands for resources and initiative. So if you learn to use your resources, if you learn to become resourceful and you take the initiative, you're going to be so much more successful. We've been very fortunate in the last couple of years with real estate. You didn't have to use your R&I, you just had to show up. If you were lucky enough to get a listing, you take some blame photos, you put it on the market, you get 10 offers. It was easy. If you are representing buyers, they would come to you and like, we want to put an offer on this house. And you're like, oh, I'll put it, for 10% over, okay. And you had a 1 in 10 chance of getting it. If you had a cash buyer, you had a really good chance of getting the house. So you didn't really have to be resourceful and use your initiative. So now the market shifted back to more of a normal market, and the most successful agents are the agents who are using their R&I. Did you know that more millionaires were created during the Great Depression than any other time in the history of the United States? Why is that? Because there was a lot of opportunities available if you use your R&I. And the same thing's going on in real estate right now. Buyers are still out there. We're still selling homes, but you got to work a little harder. You got to do a little more to stand out. And so that means using your resources and your initiative. A good example of an agent using their R&I, I was walking into an MLS meeting. I'm the MLS chair for our board, and I shut my phone off so I could run a good meeting. And I didn't know this, but she sent me a message. She had a question, where do I find this form to write this offer? I wrapped the meeting up in about an hour. I don't like long meetings, so I wrapped up about an hour. And then I turned my phone back on and I saw her message and I was getting ready to respond. And another message popped up. It's like, hey, don't worry, Tony, I found it. Thank you. And so I called her anyways, and she had went online in the workplace and she found it. So I was super excited about that she was using her resources and her initiative. So I knew she was going to be really well. And of course, she ended up capping her commissions just a few weeks after that. She's doing really well. And I think she's going to be a superstar because she uses her R&I, her resource initiative. She's what you would say proactive. You've got to learn to be proactive. It's another term for using your resources and your initiative. Another example, when I was a young agent starting out, not young, but just starting out, 25 years ago, probably my first few months of real estate, there was a guy in our office and the agent didn't want to work with him. So she said, hey, Tony, you want to take him? I said, yeah, great. So she's like, you don't have to give me a referral. This guy, he's too much of a jerk. I can't work with him. So, and he was a bit of a jerk. He would make appointments to see property, not show up, and then I wouldn't hear from him for months. And then he'd pop back into town to go skiing and want to look at property. And it was difficult to work with, but I kept working with him. The hardest part was, this is before we had the MLS on the internet. So you just had a book. So people weren't allowed to see what was on the market. They had to, listen to you as the agent. So I would pick out properties and he would look at them, he wouldn't like them. And so finally I figured out that he didn't like anything because I was picking it out. He had such a big ego, he wanted to be in control. So I was taking the initiative, figure this out. I didn't just go, oh, I can't work with this guy, and throw my hands up. That would have been a reactive expression. I was dead proactive. I can figure out how to work with this guy. What does he need? He wants to find the property. So one day we were out looking property, and he said he was coming up the next day to go skiing. We were gonna look at property after skiing. And a property came on the market, just brand new, and I thought of something he might like. And then luckily there was a property across the street in the same price range. And so I went and showed him the property across the street, and then we walked out, and I knew he wouldn't like it, and he was telling me he didn't like it. And I stood at the bottom of the driveway in between him and a new house. It wasn't new, but new to the market. And he was talking, I was like, come on, buddy. I'm thinking in my head, look behind me, look at that house. So finally he's like, what about that house? And I was like, oh, wow, well, that must be new. Let me find out. So I'd already had the key. I knew the house was vacant. I knew we could show it. I'm like, hey, I'm going to call the office and find out if we can show it, and go ahead and start walking around. So I call the office, and then I'm like, I said, I'm going to go drive up and get the keys. This is before lockboxes. You had to go to the office, pick up the key to go to the house. Drove around the corner, waited a few minutes, came back around and said, hey, I got the key. Went in, and he ended up buying that house, $550,000. And then a few weeks later, I sold his condo that he had in town. So I ended up getting $900,000 in sales because I took the initiative. It would have been really easy for me just to blame them and say, this guy's a jerk, I can't work with him, or this guy won't listen to me, or he won't return my calls, he doesn't show up when he's supposed to. But instead, I stuck with it. I used my resources of the different houses in the area, took the initiative, I got it done, and $900,000 in sales is pretty good when you're first starting out. It helped boost my career, so I was very happy. But you got to learn to use your R and I. It's real easy to be reactive. Another term for R and I is being proactive. But if most people are reactive, if you're reactive, you're like, oh, I can't work with this guy, or that's just the way I am. Like when you're saying that's just the way I am, meaning I'm not willing to learn, I'm not willing to grow. At one point, every single one of us listening to this video right now did not know how to walk. I'm talking about when we were infants, right? When we were babies. You probably don't remember that. I don't remember learning how to walk, but my parents told me about it. I'm sure you know babies, or you've seen people when they're babies are learning to walk. And what do? They get up, they fall down, right? They figure it out. Like, okay, they get up, they fall down. They get up, they take a few steps, and they fall down. But they keep going. They don't just quit, say, oh, I'm not designed for walking. They're proactive. They take the initiative. They say no. They're down on their hands and knees. They're looking around. All the humans are walking, but the babies, they know they have to do it. They know they have to get up and start walking. And they do, and they fall down, and they get up again, and they walk, and they fall down again. So you got to have that attitude. That's part of what R&I is, being proactive, being resourceful, taking the initiative, not just quitting on the first little bump that you hit. This is a great opportunity for you to become a very super successful agent. Many agents right now are going to be quitting. They're going to go start doing other things because it's not easy anymore. So it's going to give you more opportunities to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. So work on your R&I. How do I work on my R&I, Tony? One of the best books I've ever read on this is let me slow down. Sorry, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you to work on your R&I because it's changed your life like it's changed mine. So one of the best books I've ever read on improving yourself is the book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The very first part of the book is on the number one habit. Number one habit is on being proactive, working on your R&I. Because if you don't do that, you're just falling in a pattern and you're never going to get anywhere. So I would highly recommend read that book. If you've read it, read it again. It's one of those books, as you grow, you get more out of it. As you grow and more, you can go back and read the book 6 months later, go, oh yeah, I've improved all that. That makes sense. Now I'm growing this way. Another way, I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. He's doing Unleash the Power Within, which is an amazing course. It's 4 days, probably 12 hours a day. And with EXP, you can do that for $379 virtually. And that's 2 boxes. So you can do it for less than $200. You can take a virtual course live in your house from some of the best people in the world about this. Tony Robbins, Joseph's going to be there. I can't remember the name of the people right now, but this is an amazing opportunity to do that. I'll put a link down below for you to do that. It's happening real quick, first week of November. I think it's like November 4th, 5th, and 6th, something like that. 4 days. Anyway, amazing opportunity. If you haven't done that, it's super cheap. Normally people, to go live, you got to pay thousands of dollars. You got to fly there. You got to get a hotel room, buy all your food. And this, you're going to be in your home, but don't just flake on it. You got to be there. You got to be present. You got to be into it. You got to be pretending like you're at a hotel and you're not in your house where you're like, oh, I got to do laundry. So another great opportunity to do that. If you're with EXP, you're fortunate. You have access to the top real estate agents in the country. They're teaching live classes. There's probably a live class going on right now. And some of this is going on, working on being proactive, starting campaigns, what you need to do, follow up, all that's using your resources and your initiative. So hopefully you got something good out of this video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe below, leave a comment, tell me what you did. I'll put a link in there for the Unleash the Power Within, but it's happening right now. You got to do is sign up right now because they're going to be closing it soon. So get on that immediately. And what's going to happen? You're going to end up generating more sales, bringing home more commissions, more money to bring home to your loved ones so you can spend more time doing the things you want to do and not the things you have to do.